Hello everyone and welcome to another Baldur's Gate draft, and this is recorded after the Rebalanced card patch. So there were some alchemy rebalances which also affect the draft, and a lot of the cards in this limited format were balanced for limited. And I will try to point out any card that I remember that was balanced. For example, this pack has the Emerald Dragon, which lost Trample but gained Ward 2, which is much better than just the Trample. And then the Lantern of Revealing has the activated ability down from 4 to 3 mana. But there are also, a lot more significant changes in this format. For example, blue is slightly better now. Still not maybe the best, but well, obviously not the best, but it is going to be a better color. Here, I think I'll take the Mist Dragon. I do like the Jaheira, I do like the Myconid, but let's try to see if the blue rebalances make it a better color. Plus, I really think this is one of the actually good blue cards that make it reasonable to draft blue in this format even before the balance changes. So does this pack has any balanced cards? Well, there's the Lantern of Revealing again, and there was a Steadfast Unique. There were a few balance changes, the other direction, so card got worse. For example, Steadfast Unicorn, which was really good promoting aggressive gameplay, making blocking very hard. It has the activation now at 5 mana, not at 4 mana. I think it's still a good card, but definitely a significant nerf to the usefulness of the card. Now, after I took the Mist Dragon here, still the Charmed Sleep is bad in this format. I think I like the Bronze Walrus. I don't want to commit to a second color yet. And this Walrus does work very well with the Mist Dragon because you get the option to play it on turn 4 with the help of the Walrus. Now, this pack has 2, if not more, it actually has 3 rebalanced cards. One of them is the Young Blue Dragon, which is otherwise the same except for the stats have increased from 3/3 to 3/4. The extra point of toughness makes it easier to block when you cast this for 5 mana. Definitely a significant upside. And then the Water Weird got the activated ability to to use 2 mana to do the stat change +1 -1, making it a little bit better than just a 4 mana 3/4. And then the Circle of the Land Druid, really good now because it got an extra power. It's a 2 mana 2/1, so it's actually a good 2-drop now for green. I could take the Skullport Merchant, but I think I'll just take the Young Blue Dragon. I will try this blue stuff now. The Skullport Merchant was maybe the reasonable pick there because it's such a strong card, but I just wanna take these blue cards now and see how they actually perform in the matches. Right, so not going to take the Librarians here. I'm going to take a non-blue card here now, which is well, I mean, there is a Stick Together. I'm just not a big fan of the card because the opponent might have some of these party types, so it's not even going to always kill all the opponent's creatures. So I don't think it's the pick here. I maybe can think that I don't know. I'll take the improvised weaponry mostly because it seems like red might be a little bit open here. Yeah, it was a a rather weak pack, I think. I guess I could have taken the rare as well, but I have a bunch of 5-drops here also, so I wanted to take something cheap. Now, should I take an improvised weaponry number 2? It's not that great. Not all decks will have a plenty of targets for 2 damage removal, but it's gonna be better than the Charmed Sleep still. And the other cards are quite bad, so I'm gonna take it. Plus, this also allow me to ramp to this into these 5-drops on turn 4. And here, Goggles of Night was one other card that got rebalanced. I think the equip cost was 2 earlier. I'm not quite sure, but well, I'm somewhat sure. Now it is easier to move around. Is it good enough? Don't know. Is there anything good enough in this pack? I guess I'll do like the Earth Cult Elemental a little bit more here. I'm going to take that if I'm gonna be blue-red. Yeah, I don't think the Goggles is that good still. Alright, so Flames of Moradin. This is the artifact destroying red rare, not really good. This got also rebalanced. It got an additional point of toughness. It's no longer a 3 mana 2/1 flyer, it's a 3 mana 2/2, which is relevant in this format, which has like a sampling gas, and of course now it can actually block like a 1/1 token. Yeah, I'm gonna take it because it's now a Windreg at its base, and while a 3 mana 2/2 flyer isn't that great in modern limited anymore, it's still definitely the activated ability can matter, and then of course the fact it doesn't have 1 toughness anymore is, it's definitely better than the 2/1 version, which was sometimes playable as well. Here I take the defensive 4-drop. It's my first 4-drop as well. And here I don't really want to take a third of these. Now it's a fine sideboard card. This is a best of 3 draft. So I mean I could see a matchup where I want to have these 3 of these cards in the deck, but probably not gonna main deck all of those. But I don't want to take another 5-drop here. I have a bunch of expensive stuff too. So maybe, I don't know, Charmed Sleep. I take the Charmed Sleep for sideboard. I don't like to play it in the main deck, but I'll take it for the sideboard, because not all decks can, get rid of the enchantment or get value out of the creature that was locked under this thing. Here I can take the Robe of the Archmage. Not necessarily because I'm gonna play it, but because it's a rare and I don't care about the other cards in this pack. It's 20 gems if nothing else. Here I could take the Sellsword or another Earth Cult Elemental. I don't have any Dragon's Fire, so if I had like 2 of them, the 4-power dragon would be maybe nice, but I'll take another 6-drop here now. I have ways to actually accelerate into this thing. Alright, so here, don't care about any of that stuff. Let's take the Rapier, Cloak of the Bat, whatever. And another Stick Together would be here. Well, I'm not taking that, of course. There is the 6-drop, but I'm not taking the 6-drop. Oh, well, there are actually a couple of them. I'm not taking them. I will take something cheap. I have nothing that costs 2, for example. Well, there is the adventure here, but a 2-cost card that doesn't affect the board doesn't really count as a 2-drop. All right. I mean, unless it ramps you, but it doesn't do even that. Right. So Undersimplify, Pilgrim's Eye, Walrus, and the Young Blue Dragon are the options here. And I think I have to take something that costs 2, so I'll take the Undersimplify this time. The Dragonborn Looter got cheaper. It used to be a 2 mana 1/2 with the same 1 mana looting ability. Now it's a 1 mana 1/2. Still not a big fan of 1/2s or a big fan of looters that cost mana to loot, because you can't really use this when you're curving out. It costs way too much mana. It's good in the late game, of course. And also the young red dragon lost a point of toughness, but now is able to block. It was not able to block. It was a 3/2. So this is also a better version of the card now. I will take the Rabble Rouser. I think I would want to at least try a Water Weird, but I needed to drop, and this is definitely a good quality one. Ray of Frost is a sideboard card still. Oh, this pack doesn't really have much going on for me. They said the Dragonborn Looter. Should I, because it got, rebalanced, it's better definitely than the 2 mana version was. I'm not exactly a deck that cares about the dragon creature type that much. This definitely, in some blue-green, I don't know, there are some cards that care about having dragons, which I don't have. Maybe I will still, give this guy a chance. Later in the game, this is a good way to get rid of your extra lands and get some fresh cards. So let's take the 1 mana 1/2. And here another Ray of Frost. And this you come to a river also got rebalanced. So it used to be a 2 mana card. The second option, the Find a Crossing, is the same it used to be. So actually, if you want to use that mode, it is just a more expensive card. But of course, the first mode was always the card the mode you most often wanted to use, and that was just a return a non-land permanent to the owner's hand. This actually returns it to the top or bottom of the library. So basically, it's not it's the card parity is now 0, or how do you say? I'm gonna take it anyway. So of course, bounce spells also always make you, lose a card because opponent still gets the card in their hand. But in this case, when it goes to their deck, they get to decide if they want to redraw it or not. But anyway, you get to 1-for-1 trade with the opposing thing. Also, this is now a sorcery, not an instant, which is really relevant as well. But I think I still want to play this despite that. All right, here another Goggles of Night, which I'm not taking. I'll take the 2-drop, which I really still need quite a bunch of. I'll take the Gate here over the Hypnotic Pattern, quite easy. A late Owlbear, I would say. And here I have a Soul Knife Spy and a Farides Fireball. Definitely either of those is going to be better than the Contact the Other Plane. Should I take the 5-mana removal? I think I can take it. I don't have much removal besides this weaponry, so let's take one of these. Guild Thief is still quite, bad. Do I want to play multiples of these? This effect is decent for 3 mana, even though it's a sorcery. Guild Thief isn't really that good. It's way too expensive to make it unable to be blocked. So I'm gonna take another You Come to a River. Okay, so the gut actually came back. I think I'd rather play these 6/6s for 6. And I might even rather play the Air Cult Elemental, but I think out of these options I'll just take the Lizard Folk Librarians here. And here another Fireball, but maybe I won't play 2 of them. I will give this for the weirded chance now. I can still have a 4-drop in the deck, so let's have it. So the fact you can actually make this deal even without any other enhancements, you can make it, if you sink 6 mana to it, you can make it into a 6/1. So opponent has to respect this card much more. And of course this has the the triggered ability still intact. Alright, Ray of Frost, nice sideboard card. Another Ray of Frost for the sideboard. And a counter spell or a card draw thing. I don't know. I like the card draw the counter spell in the sideboard more. And Hypnotic Pattern I like enough to play even in the main deck. But of course I have now already 20. Well, actually 19 non-lands because there's the Gate to Tumble Down. But there's still an entire pack left in the draft. Now this is another rebalanced version. So now the activated ability costs only 1 instead of 2. So this is like a Cultivate that costs 4 mana. It used to cost 5, and at 5 it was totally just way too slow. I think it's now a decent card when you are splashing, and it also gets you gates, by the way. So I wouldn't play it in this kind of deck, but it's definitely playable in some decks at least. Right, so just take the Fire Beetles. I'm not really an aggressive deck, but don't really think I care about. Okay, I'll take the Fire Beetles, but I'm not sure I'm gonna even run it. But here there's an Ancient Copper Dragon, even gets to contribute to my mythic or set completion because it's a mythic I don't own more than 2 of now, so I'm definitely taking it. I mean, regardless of how many copies do I own these cards, it's still a 6 mana 6/5 flyer. And while this is not, sometimes you don't need those treasures, but quite often, and especially in this deck with such a heavy curve, I think the treasure tokens can be very handy. And I would play a 6 mana 6/5 dragon. I mean, a 6 mana 6/5 flyer with no other abilities. I would consider it a high pick, so I'm gonna take it. Yep. And here, Lapis Orb of Dragonkind. So these also, all of these 3 orbs, blue, green, and red have these. They were changed so that they add mana of any color. They used to only add the kind of mana that they, their own color. So these are tapped for blue, but now it can tap for the other colors. I guess the idea is to make the the 3-color dragon deck a thing. Here I still, even though I wouldn't mind having another 3 mana accelerator, but I can actually get this later. I mean, when it comes back to me, I'm gonna take another 2-drop. The Rabble Rouser is a decent enough of a blocker, and then also later in the game can be an actually a threat. Right. So here the Barbarian is, yeah, I could accelerate some of my 6-drops, but it's just not what I need. I also have already some number of 2-drops here, but I think I might still take another one of those. But it's gonna be is it gonna be the Wizened Geyserai or the Invoker? I don't think I'm gonna take another Fireball. I'll take the 2 mana 2/1 now.
Well, I could take a Fireball now. There's, by the way, another balance change in, a nerf, because this was an incredibly effective card with 2 power. Now it only has 1 power, and it's still, playable, but not the universal, best black common it used to be. All right, so here, Soul Knife Spy, Fireball number 2. I guess I'll take the Fireball. And then I can take I'm pretty happy to take the Bronze Walrus, because I have, 5 and 6 drops here, quite a few of. I might not play the second copy of the Earth Cult Elemental now that I have the Copper Dragon here, but no matter what, I'm going to take the Bronze Walrus here. And okay, there's the Rhyme Shield Frost Giant. I'm going to take that, and well, it's just excellent still, and I think I'm gonna cut now one of the Earth Cult Elementals, go to sideboard, and undersimplify. Yep, I'm gonna play another of those. And I could take a third Ray of Frost to my sideboard, but I think I'm not gonna even do sideboard 3 of them in. I'm gonna just take 20 gems. I don't need these 4 drops either, so I'm gonna take 20 gems with the, in form of this rare here. Another pattern, another Gitterai. I don't think the Gitterai is really that great in this deck, so I'll take another pattern, which most likely ends up being in the sideboard. And there's that Dragon Orb thing, which I might play. Let's see. I think I like it more than the Lantern. I have a few dragons, so I might get the Scry a couple of times. Okay, let's take the Invoker now. Soul Knife Spy, still got it. After passing all the Soul Knife Spies, I got those as the last 2 picks in the entire draft. Alright, so unsurprisingly, blue was still quite open. How many red cards do I even have? Well, I do have 10 red cards, assuming I'm not gonna cut anything. I think the first red card to cut here would be the giant fire beetles, because I don't really think I care about this 3-mana 2/2 evasive creature. I have a more of a late game focused deck here, so I'm going to in fact cut it. I will cut at least one of the Soul Knife Spies, and I might cut also one of the You Come to a Reverse. I will cut one of the Hypnotic Patterns. Maybe the Invoker isn't what I want to have here. Let's see. I want to have enough, plays at 2 mana. I will play the counter spells and the Rabble Rousers for sure. That's 5 plays at 2 mana. Then that's a little bit, I usually like to have at least 6. But the problem is that the Invoker and the Gitterai aren't really that amazing. I guess I'm gonna cut at least the Invoker. I will sideboard it maybe in some matchups where I really need to have some 2 mana 1/3s, or it's such a grindy matchup that I can assume to be drawing those extra cards with it. I also don't think the Looter is really that great, especially given that I have a pretty... Well, I have a lot of cards in here that cost more than 4. I guess this has the option to be cast on turn 2, but I guess I don't really need any extra lands beyond 6. I mean, unless I want to like double spell. Even the Rebel Rousers, if your 6 lands are, 3 of them produce red, it's really, decent enough if you can make them into 4/3s. So the Looter will be useful in the later in the game, but I think I just since I'm gonna play, of course, 17 lands here, I'm gonna need to cut 3 more cards, so it is gonna be the Looter that's gonna go away at this stage. I think I'll play the Gitterai. I wanna have all these 2 mana plays available. The pattern, kind of want to play it. Maybe the Soul Knife Spy. I think a one-off Soul Knife Spy is kind of interesting. I can make it fly with this Pseudo Dragon Familiar, and of course, even if you don't have a way to make it evasive or anything like that, this still requires opponent to leave blockers in a different way, because let's say they leave one blocker, like a 2 mana, well, 2/2 for instance, they have to take into account I might have any kind of removal like this improvised weaponry, and then if I get to kill their only blocker, I'm gonna net a card from this thing, and it's already gonna be really really bad for the opponent. So whenever I have an active Soul Knife Spy on the battlefield, it makes the opponent play a little bit more defensively. It's still a card that might be really bad against some decks. Some opponents will always have an easy time leaving 2 power blockers against this thing, and then this is just a 3 mana 3/2. So I'm
feeling like I might want to still cut it, but it's a card I might sideboard in. Let's see now how many dragons I have here. There's only 4, so that's actually making the Orb of Dragonkind maybe not quite that great. I mean, 4 of my creatures will give the scry option to me. Other than that, it's only, well, it's also mana fixing now. It does help me cast these Farius Fireballs, for instance. But is it still going to be the cut? I guess cards I could still consider cutting is, well, not. I will play both of these 6 drops. I have this second elemental here, but I'm not going to main deck it. I will play, I think, because there's not that much removal, I will play both Fireballs, and of course I will play these other amazing 5 drops. And then I like to have these 3 4 drops. Yep, I mean there's not a lot of things to cut. Maybe because I have 2 of these Walrus things and then 2 of these, assuming I have a relevant target on these, I get a treasure token. So basically I have 4 3-mana cards already that accelerate me into these 5 and 6 drops, even if I cut the Lapis up. And now that I realized that there's only 4 dragons here, I can't really get more than 1 or 2 scries in most games, so it's not maybe worth running a 3-mana rock, because usually 3-mana rocks aren't that great. The Walrus is different because it's a 3-mana 2/2 with ETB scry 2, which is nice, and then if it survives, then you can still add mana. So I think the orb is the cut, and I will end up with a deck that has 12 blue cards, 9 red cards, and is there a reason to play? I mean, it will be a 9/8 mana base, but there are some reasons to play 9 red sources, despite having fewer red cards in the deck than blue, and they are the triple Rabble Rouser. Now there's a Water Weird too, but the Rabble Rousers benefit more from having excess mana. And I have some double caster blue cards, but they are only online on turn 5. So I think because of the triple Rebel Rouser, if I had like only one, definitely it wouldn't really make any sense to skew your mana base because of one, but I have 3 of them, so that's a reason to play actually 9 red sources. So like that, and like this. That's the deck. So again, I'm drafting blue, but this time, I had a reason I wanted to, test these rebalanced cards. How many of them did I end up with? I didn't choose to at least main deck these. Maybe I will sideboard it in, but I have a Pseudo Dragon Familiar with extra point of toughness. This, which got really changed from instant to sorcery, from 2 to 3 mana, but then the first option is better than a bounce to hand. And then the young blue dragon, which got the extra point of toughness. So in fact, there's not a lot of of these rebalanced cards in here, but I still like the deck. So let's see how it goes. Okay, that's a fine hand. Steadfast Unicorn now not so good as it used to be. Alright, I have 2 options for turn 2, but since they have an active creature already, I don't think I wanna just hold up mana for the undersimplify. Plus I want to attack with this while I can trigger the double team without just losing this, although I guess with Hypnotic Pattern it's not gonna be that hard to enable an attack. Let's see if they have a 2-drop. Oh, as you can see, they have 39 cards in their deck, 5 in their hand, that's 44, plus these 3, so they're actually playing a 47 card deck. Okay, no 2-drop. I'm still taking the Rabble Rouser, and now I can also use improvised weaponry, if for nothing else than against the Unicorn. They might have the Flash 2-drop, no they didn't, because they had some, well they might have like a pump spell or something. Alright, so they have a Unicorn deck. Couple of those unicorns there. So It is tempting to attack into. So let's see, what's the worst that can happen? So first of all, if they don't block, then it's fine. I get my another Rebelriser. But if they block with the Unicorn, I can trade with it and then use the Hypnotic Pattern. So yeah, let's give them the chance to I mean, if I can trade this into a card, it's fine. I do need to, of course, use my, this is taking my entire turn here, but I can give this thing perpetually -2, -0, and this gets temporarily because, well, it's gonna die, so that's all I need. Now, this still has, utility later in the game, so maybe not too great that, I mean, they are not now. It's a harmless creature, but it still has an ability that might make sense at some point. Okay, this is one of the rebalanced cards. This used to cost 3 mana. Oh, is my face in there in the front of that? Now it costs 2 mana. The other abilities are, same. The ability it has is the same, but it's a cheaper card now. All right, so I'm gonna play the Lizard Folk Librarians here, but why wouldn't I just attack? Maybe they choose not to block. I'm not gonna pump if they block. That's the point. I mean, I guess I could and leave mana up for the undersimplify, but I just rather trigger these things. Scry 2. I do want to have the land. I want to try the water weird too, but I'm gonna leave it on top to cast at some point next turn. I can play the Mist Dragon, or maybe I can play the Familiar and then leave mana up for the undersimplify. Who knows? So when they have at least 4 creature cards in their graveyard, this thing starts doing its thing. Okay, that is a good card, but not so good when you have only 3 mana to cast it. They didn't mill a creature, so they are still only at 1 creature card in their graveyard. So how am I gonna do this? I do want to play the Mist Dragon just to get the 4/3 flyer online. So I'm gonna do that and tap the Unicorn so they don't get to block with it, have an additional creature in their graveyard. And now I get to well, this will deal 3 damage, and then I have a 4 power in the air. The Pseudo Dragon Familiar can be useful in this match too. I mean, in this game too, because it makes any of my ground guys fly. So there's a Manticore. This also got better. So otherwise the same, but it has 3 power. It used to have only 2 power. So definitely a 3 mana. So a 4 mana 3/1 flash flyer is that's like an okay card. But then you have the tail spikes and triggered ability, which makes it sometimes even better. Now I'm gonna kill it with improvised weaponry. Now opponent of course made a mistake. They played a flash. Well, maybe not, because I do have a counter spell. I play blue, so they wanted to play this while I'm tapped out. But now that gives me the window to play the weaponry. But now that I have both the counter spell and the weaponry, of course, I mean I would have been able to get rid of the Manticore one way or the other. And now I'm gonna just leave up mana, I think. They do have a third creature card in their graveyard now because they did mill the Grim Wanderer. Okay, so they can play the Horn of Valhalla, which I don't care about. Don't know actually. I could play the Rebalanced. I could play the Familiar here too, and use up my treasure, or I can just leave up mana for the Undersimplify. Don't know actually. They play this. Okay, I'm gonna leave mana up for the Undersimplify now because I don't care about them casting the Horn here. Of course, I can't really counter it with this thing, but that does nothing. They need to do something about the dragon, and there are not that many cheap ways to do it. Do something. I guess a cast down would work so that they can't counter it, but yeah, I like the idea of playing the Undersimplify, leaving mana up for the Undersimplify now. Yeah, I have a lot of options, of course, here. But as long as I mean, still we are in the point in the game where I can actually. Okay, well, I'm not countering that, where I might actually be able to counter something, but that didn't happen. They at 4 mana chose to play a 2 mana 1/3, but it doesn't fly. It actually does block the Lizard Folk Librarians, of course, but yeah, this also will, the mill thing, yeah, the Sigil of Merkel will at some point become a problem, but of course I will fly over the opponent. That's the point here with the Pseudo Dragon family. I can also do that. Cloak of the Bat. Well, I do want to counter that. I don't want the guys to randomly fly when the Sigil starts adding counters to their people. Mill a non-creature, so they don't get a counter yet. Bronze Walrus. What's a weird? I like the. I'm gonna play the Pseudo Dragon family here, but let's now attack with everything. See what they do. They might just block the 2/4 with the 1/3. I mean, that's kind of an obvious block. But then, do they want to throw away the Unicorn potentially? Because if they do block the Rebel Rouser, I think I will pump and then play the Water Weird post combat, because with the the rebalance, I can actually make this deal more than 4 damage, so I'm going to able to push through with this thing quite easily. Okay, they are thinking about the block here now. If they block it that way, that makes no sense. So they're gonna throw away the Unicorn, leave this Cleric. I mean, be my guest. I'm not gonna use mana on the Rebel Rouser now. I think now it's gonna be this. I wanna scry 2, see what happens. I'm gonna play the. Actually, I could take all of these. Even the 2-power creature might make sense here. Okay, fine, let's take it all. But I will leave the weaponry on top, and then I will play. I kind of like the familiar. It can make a surprise flying attacker at 6 mana. Maybe I'm gonna play the Rebel Rouser, because when you have 2 of these, every 2 mana you sink to this ability, 2 of your creatures get pumped, and I can, I do have actually 6 mana available here, so I can make both of these into 4/3s, and as you can see, the opponent is now having 1 creature against my 5. Now this is active now, so they will get a +1/+1 counter on a creature every turn, and then that creature will have a death touch, but that's not relevant right now because I don't care about blocking their stuff, but still their creatures will get bigger. Now that mill is a mandatory mill. They don't need to mill anymore because they have the 4 creatures, but oh, by the way, this does tap for mana. Oh, they attack with that thing. What? Okay, be my guest. Why are they attacking with that? They need that to block. There's no way to untap it with just a swamp here. Maybe they have a... No, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't have anything else than death touch. I'll take 2. Now, maybe they realized their mistake. Maybe that was like a misclick or something. How easy is it to misclick attacks? Maybe if you spam the, the button here, that passes priority, maybe it's possible in that case. So I should have a lethal attack now, right? I mean, I'm not even gonna calculate it because it's pretty obvious with the Rebel Rousers. That's 4 in the air. They can block 1 of my ground guys, and that's lethal even without using any of these pumps. Plus, I do have the 2 damage to their face and all that. So yeah, this is really easy. Now this is actually not quite enough, so I'm gonna pump once. So I was wrong about saying that it's lethal without pumps. They got the 1 life, so I do need to pump once. Alright, so are they gonna show me the black instant that gives this thing +1/+0 and indestructible? Because they have priority now up. They have only black mana open, 1 black mana open. They don't need to show me that card because it's not gonna help them survive. Is there some other trick that costs 1 black mana in this set? I mean, I don't think they're playing with full control either. Or maybe I, disconnected and now, well, I don't know. Let's see now. That's it. Alright, so that's a black and white deck that has this, where is it? Here, Sigil, Horn of Valhalla, which is annoying when they cast this, later in the game when they have like 6 or more mana. maybe even 5. Because this does make some massive equipped creature after they have gotten a bunch of 1/1s. But other than that, don't really know. I need to keep in mind that they have the Manticore, the Grim Wanderer. I didn't see a lot of life gain for the Celestial Unicorns. There is the Priest here. They have a main deck Cloak of the Bat. What do I do with my sideboard? Against black and white, I don't think the Ray of Frost makes too much sense. Don't like the Charmed Sleep because it's. I mean, the Ray of Frost is bad also because of the. This thing. This has destroy target enchantment. Also a reason to not play the Charmed Sleep. Is something here bad? I kinda think my deck is still fine as is. I don't see how the sideboard can improve the matchup, at least based on what I saw from their deck in that game. So let's just use the same deck for now. Two lander, but I have enough place. Any one land gives me the improvised weaponry, which can help me cast these expensive cards. Alright, so let's see. If they don't have a 2-drop, I don't think I'm necessarily gonna play the Rabble Rouser, but let's see. Oh, but now I have all these. I should actually play a creature now. And I'm gonna play the 2-1, which is hard to block because this gives the perpetual -2/-0 to the blocker. So this can function as an unblockable 2-1 creature at the start of the game. For example. Okay, I actually need to. I mean, a land would have been great to kill this thing with the improvised weaponry, but I do have this way to reset it. Plus, I think I'm gonna now leave mana up for the undersimplify. I don't want them to get too ahead on the board because the Rabble Rouser wouldn't be that great of an attacker now. Okay, they don't have a play. Well, maybe they have a trick of some kind. Manticore, I don't know. Well, undersimplify, I have that up now. Alright, so that's a perpetual -2/-0. So now what they are gonna do? Did they not? Okay, they have an Armor of Shadows. Yep. Well, that's. I mean, it's still gonna be a perpetually -2/-0. That's fine. And the perpetual nature of that means that even if I like bounce it with this, let's say it picks a few counters, I bounce it with this thing, it will still have the perpetual -2/-0. And of course, the improvised weaponry doesn't kill it anymore because they have. It's indestructible. Let's play this. There's no reason to be using the You Come to a River right now. It's not really a threat unless it picks a few counters, and at that point I might just use the You Come to a River to deal with it. Okay, what are they thinking? They have 21 minutes left. I mean, there's not a lot of cards that should cause any kind of thinking here, I don't think. I mean, if they have a cast down, are they going to use it on the Rabble Rouser? Maybe that's something they were considering. Okay, now they have 5 mana. So I hope they don't have the Horn, because I don't have my counterspell up. Okay, so they are. Oh, I mean, let's see what happens. At least I get the double team trigger here, and if they block, I of course have the option to not use the pump here, which is, it's kind of tempting. But I mean, I'm gonna make them use their cards. Let's see what it is. I'm gonna use 2 mana for this. Oh, they just what? What? Am I going to leave mana up for the undersimplify? I don't really think I'm gonna play this, and this, as you can see, this is not the one that lost double team. This is another copy of this card. Okay, they have a Grim Wanderer. Well, I'm happy I didn't leave mana up for the undersimplify. It wouldn't have worked there. So I'm gonna take 5 now. Cloak of the Bat, sure. I mean, I can bounce this and then they need to wait something to die before they can recast it. but I can also take some hits from that thing. Now it's not. No, it's not. No, it's no time to use any pumps right now. I'm gonna just add to the board. I'm gonna play the water weird here. I can take 5 here, go to 10, and then I probably will have to use the You Come to a River on it, unless they have something even nastier coming up. But yep, I don't have currently a way to block it. Oh, that's a 7-5, but it is a ground guy. Okay, so that's So I don't really have a way to block it. That's the problem. So I can bounce this thing and then actually counter. They most likely put it on the top of their deck. By the way, this has also gotten a little bit of a boost. It has 1 additional power. It used to be a 6-5, and now it's a 7-5. Alright, so what to do? I don't really want to die to this. I mean, they have the Cloak of the Bat, which is an equipment, so any of the guys can fly, of course. So if I don't deal with this guy, they're gonna make it fly. Am I gonna win in 2 draw steps? That's the problem. I am not. Not draw in 2 turns. So let's say I bounce this thing and I leave mana up for the undersimplify. I will deal only 5, and then on the next turn it's not gonna be enough. Yeah, this thing not being an instant, it does hurt, because I could, bounce the flying creature on their turn or something like that. The walrus is also decent. I know I could just attack with the water weird, and if they block, then I can pump it twice. That's my turn then. Not great. This equipment also gives haste, by the way. I think the best chance to try to win here is this. It's still, I didn't do the math. Let's say I draw a land so I can pump these. Well, actually, yeah, I guess, yeah. And this thing is when if the top card of your library is a non-land, it gets +1/+1 counter. Otherwise, I'm okay. I don't even yeah, they put it on the top. So what happens? So yeah, I don't get to see it. So, but I know put a +1/+1 counter on this thing if it's a non-land. So it's gonna be a non-land there. But this is gonna be 4+. I'm gonna be able to deal 10 to them next turn. Is that right? I'm gonna leave up mana for the counter. I think I have to, but I think, I mean, even with the improvised weaponry, am I gonna lose to this Grim Wanderer? Okay, so I can do this, and then I have, but it's not gonna. I mean, 2 mana is equal to 2 damage. I'm dealing 6 now. I can deal 10. Oh, but there's another thing. I can do this. Thanks to the treasure here. Yep. So now, yeah, this does work. That was a good non-land, but a land would have just given me the victory, because then I could have had triple. I mean, that would have been 12 damage with a land, but I didn't draw a land. But at least I drew something that allowed me to get rid of this. So are they going to find? They can have a hasty. If the hasty creature that has 5 power, if it's the 4 mana, 5 mana, okay, that's not, because they could have had the thing that's a 5 mana 4/4 when it ATBs. The creatures you control get +1/+1 and vigilance until end of turn. They actually had mana to cast that, and then, because it of course affects itself, usually just it can't attack because it doesn't have haste, but it could have had haste, and then I would have taken exactly 5, because I saw them mill that card in the previous game. But okay. I don't think I had lethal, so they had 11 damage. I had 5 mana, 2 of these. So if I use an improvised weaponry on their head, they go to 9, and then I have still only 6 power. Yeah, that wasn't gonna work. Yep. So I had to kill this Grim Wanderer, which worked. All right. So this is a little bit tougher keep. I think it still is. I'm on the draw here because, well, first of all, I have a castable in the hand, and then if I draw any land, I can play this, the Scry 2, and of course also play this to get a treasure for a one-shot blue. So I think it's good enough. In 3 draw steps, drawing any land, that's gonna be good enough. And I guess I can get other 2 mana plays now. Blue green. Now green got a lot of enhancements, mostly because of the 2 mana being quite playable now. Yeah, it's not a lot of enhancement, but it's a relevant thing because it adds another playable 2-drop to green. Yeah, this seems bad. And the 1/4, yeah, this stuff is actually bad, and I don't even draw the land here. All right, so I'm gonna attack. They might triple block it, and it's even they might triple block it, and then it's actually horrible. Yep. Okay, I mean, I can kill them because it's there, and then discard the hand size. I mean, if I drew a land here, it would be so different. I could actually do something relevant here. Did I actually? Oh, I actually accidentally. I was supposed to put the 1/1 in front here because I wasn't gonna pump. Okay, well now it's just. I'm not gonna even continue. There's no way I'm gonna. Well, there's a way, but that was just I couldn't even kill the 1/1 there, so I was just done at that point. I really was. So any reason to? They play green, so the Ray of Frost is actually gonna be a little bit more interesting. I'm gonna play that, and I'm going to cut something like maybe like 1 Lizard Folk Libraries. That's not such a good attacker against their deck, and I'm not sure if it's a good blocker as a 2/4 either. And then I will maybe cut. I feel like I want to have the Earth Cult Elemental in the deck, but then again, okay, I guess the Gizera, that thing goes away. Alright, this is fine. Maybe, unless I do want to play the 6-drop here. Guess I could just not play these. Okay, I'm gonna cut the other librarians too and play the 6-drop because this is the kind of matchup where they are just ramping to big stuff, and I need to have some big stuff myself too. Alright, that is it. Okay, let's not get stuck to too much lands. Oh man, geez. I mean, if one of these was a mountain, it would be fine. Have to mulligan that. Alright, so this is a little bit annoying to mull this because I think the Ray of Frost is quite useful here. Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to have like 4 of these rabble rousers, but I need to have a lot of mana before they really become a big threat. So I guess I'll just put one of these on the bottom of my deck, and hopefully the Baldur finds me some good stuff, and it will at least potentially accelerate into this. I'm gonna scry into lands, right? I mean, I might even draw a land right away, but if I don't draw a land, this gives me 2 other looks. Of course, if I see something very good, that's not a land. Don't really know what to do in that case, but let's see. I don't have to, figure out every possible scenario beforehand. I can just watch and see. Doesn't make any sense. Watch and see. So no, it doesn't make any sense to say that. But now that there's an actual chance they might have a counterspell. Now that I drew another 5-drop here, but I have to give myself a chance to play one of these on next turn. Please don't have the counterspell. Thank you. Okay, so interesting. Definitely the island is gonna be on top there, but at some point I will be able to cast the elemental too. So I'm actually going to play for the long game here. And I'm gonna have the 6/6 in my hand, even though it won't be doing much in a while. Oh, they have a third color. That's not even the red one, so that's not the dragon deck. Blue, green, red. Oh, don't kill the bronze walrus. I'm gonna be very disappointed on my next 2 draw steps. Okay, well, that's not so bad. On top, thank you. On top, please. I missed my land drop, but I mean, it's just I mean, I'm gonna now make it different. Now that I saw black from them, I'm gonna actually not have the elemental here. It's yeah. If I didn't put this on top, I only could play like the Rabble Rouser. They have the Allura Rogue thing here. Well, I'm gonna just so it's. I mean, I'm actually going to play this Frost Giant first. And I don't think this attacks. No, it doesn't. I'm gonna play this first, so they can make this unable to be blocked, but then they have to return it. So I don't. I'd rather play this thing, and then if they have something that can actually block this, I can then tap down their blocker and then have some attacks here. Ray of Frost in there. All right. I mean, I guess they wanted to do that rather than block down the walrus. But well, I'm happy they did because I think the walrus is more important here now. Oh, they have a removal spell on it too. Band together. All right. So now I'm very happy I didn't keep the Earth Cult Elemental, that it's on the bottom of the deck right now. All right. Well, not much to do here. This only works against red. I mean, in the tap ability, I mean, but of course, locking something like a Herd Coacher down is going to be good enough. Maybe I can draw a land now. I can tap it down already. Well, that is a land indeed. So, no attacks really. They might have ways to untap it though, but I mean, what can I do? I can't take 7 damage multiple times here. So the reason I did sideboard in this Ray of Frost is that green has stuff like this, and hopefully I didn't know they'd have that they have a black in their deck. Because black might have some sacrifice abilities, but maybe they are not splashing things like Deadly Dispute. But they're getting ways to lock these things down is important, and that's the reason the Ray of Frosts are here. And I do like the 2-mana version a little bit more than the Charmed Sleep, although that means I do have to take the 7 once here. Are they gonna make it unblockable? I don't think they really want to return it to their hand. Yeah, they get to gain 3 life again, but they also have to play a 6-drop again. Because when they attack with any number of creatures, they can make one of them on. Okay, they specialize that, which says now that they attack with up to 1 target attacking creature. Can't be blocked. And they have to return that to their hand, and then it will get perpetually +1/+1. I mean, I take 7, and then they have to return it. Yes. And they can't cast it. I don't know if that even makes a lot of sense. Scaled Nurturer, fine. Don't know if that... Well, anyway, I have to use the Mist Dragon on this thing, so I'm not going to use it now. But that means I can do this. And I can play the bottom with it. It's not a bad draw in effect. Not a bad row, in fact, at all. They can now... Well, it's quite slow to do this stuff with this. But yeah, the green has the one of the commons which has the adventure. Yeah, I think that also untaps, doesn't it? Yeah, so these no lockdown enchantments aren't that great against their deck, I guess. I just don't have that many ways to deal with big creatures, so... Well, I mean, I have a way to deal with it right now. Fireball can get rid of the Allura at some point, but let's just lock that guy down and attack for 4 here. And then next, this won't untap, and then I can use Ray Frost on it. They can make this thing unblockable, and then they will have to return it. And the return happens at the beginning of their end step, so they can't recast it on this turn. That's making this card very slow. They did in fact boost this a little bit. This had one less toughness. It's now a 4-mana 3/3. It used to be a 4-mana 3/2, and all the, you know, the backsides of it used to be 4/3s. Now all of the backsides are 4/4s. Oh, another of those Kurt Gotchers. Well, that's just horrible, isn't it? I need to lock this thing down no matter what. So I can hope. I'm not dying to this being unblockable right now. Problem is that I don't have the land here. Because if I did, I would just attack with the Water Weird into this board. Because with 6 mana I could pump this twice and then still have the Ray of Frost on this thing. Now the problem is if they block with the Hurt Gorger here. That's just not gonna work. This Allura is a really big problem now. I have to kill the Allura, but I don't know if I have time to do all that. Well, I mean, I'm gonna attack here and see what happens. I can at least get to play this thing and then Ray of Frost on the tapped Hurt Gorger. Do I need the land here? I mean, even if it's 6 lands, I get some additional pump effects for these things, but do I want to draw a land? I don't think I necessarily want to draw any lands here, so let's just do that. And yeah, they get some life from this thing. They can play dragons from the top of the deck. Now this might be it. I have had so many 3-0 drafts in a row, and I haven't actually had any unrecorded drafts between my previous one that was on the channel and this one. So if I lose now this game, that will end my streak of oh man, they are splashing for this, which, you know, makes sense. This is a very strong card, but I don't like the fact that I need to face all this stuff right now. Now they can attack with the Hurt Gorger, make it unblockable, and then they return it to their hand. They can also do with that the same thing with that thing. All right, I'm gonna, of course, well, I can't block it, so I mean I will jump block it if they allow me to do that with the Rebel Rouser, I think, but I don't think they allow me to do that. But I can kill now the Allura with the Fireball, which means that oh, but this Viconia will just simply... Oh, but they would say they would... okay, it doesn't do anything unless they draw another black card or a swamp to you know, make it into this mode. So no more unblockables for them. Oh, but I might just lose here. But it's what can I do? I mean, if I lose now, I lose. I have to kill the Allura before they get to attack. So with a low roll, I will just die. I don't have any way to gain life. Will I die? I won't. And I have still 2 mana available thanks to the Walrus. still attacks with anything else than... Well, I guess I could attack with the weird. I need to block only about 2 of their guys. This and this will attack. I forced them to... Oh, okay, but then again, if they block with the weird with the 1-4, I have to tap down the Baldurs. I have only one blocker, which can block Viconia, I guess. They don't have the Corlessa anymore. If they draw a removal on the 1-3, I kind of like the idea to, you know, force them to block, because they have to block with something. They are taking... Yeah, okay, fine. Fine. So this green version does what exactly? +2/+2. Red, sorry, the blue version. Where is it? Oh, they get a spell too. But yeah, if they get the Faridas Fireball, I'm also... Okay, I need to, you know, win fast. That's the thing here. I need to win fast. So now I need to jump block the Viconia. They're gonna jump that. Do they have like a victory with the Viconia, which I didn't realize? Maybe they do, but the Viconia is gonna be such a nice card anyway. Now they do have to discard something to specialize it, and I have a jump blocker for it. The backside won't have trample or anything. I mean, the Viconia itself, it only enhances the, you know, the duplicate card they have in their hand. Yeah, they're gonna... If they draw a blue card or an island, they can, you know, get the Faridas Fireball in their hand, and that will also mean that they can... Yeah, I will exactly lose. They have exactly mana. If that's now an island or a blue card, I will lose, because the Fireball will deal 2 to me. Because all they need to do is... So the blue version says that conjure a duplicate also of an instant or sorcery card. Okay, well, they didn't get that kind of an effect. So they got an Allure. Oh, but this means... Oh yeah, they can... Okay, yep, Allura will win. That's right. Alright, yep. Because they have the mana to now... Yeah, they can cast the Allura now. They will specialize Viconia, cast the Allura, and make the Viconia unblockable now. All they have to do is, you know, to actually do that thing. Yeah, this Viconia was such a nice card. I mean, that's definitely worth a splash. Yep, doesn't matter what they use there. They have now an Allura there, which they will be able to, you know, they can make Viconia unblockable right now. Oh, they have also the island there, so they could have gotten the Fireball, but what does it matter? I mean, come on, please do it now. I mean, I could have conceded, but I kind of... If the opponent plays fast enough, I let them, you know, deal the lethal damage when, you know, there's like nothing. Yeah, they could have won in 2 different ways here, because I was tapped out. There was nothing I could have done. But yeah, this ends my win streak. Let's see if I can at least win 2 matches in this draft at least, because there's still 1 match left. But that was a long streak. It was bound to end at some point. Oh, why so many mana issues? Well, I can't keep this. Oh, come on. Oh, can I keep this one? Opponent at least mulliganed as well, but I mean, which just 1 mountain. I have to have 2 lands at least. Well, these are 2 lands, sure. I'm gonna cut 1 undersimplify and 1 improvised weaponry, because I kind of, you know, need to draw a mountain and then get the Mist Dragon on turn 4 or something like that. Yeah. No, I don't wanna... Well, I like that I did draw the mountain, but I don't want to play against another green deck. I think I have a bad matchup against green here. Okay. Green and white. Oh, I'm not gonna wait until I get to counter their spell. I'm gonna play a 2-drop now that I have it. Yeah, that can mean that they have a 4-drop, which I could have countered, but well, I would have countered it, but at least I can attack into that thing. Yeah, I think I need to play the Walrus. They have something for 1 mana, and it's not gonna be the indestructible, adventure anymore because that got nerfed as well. I mean, I keep both of those. It costs now the adventure that gives indestructible is 2 mana now, 1 white and 1 generic mana. But they have something for 1 mana, which could be like the +1/+3 or return it or something like that. I don't like that. That's why I can kill it. Both take 2. Not a big deal at this point. If they have the 7/6, I'm gonna cry. Yeah, so this thing, as you can see, well, maybe here better. The Tear's Blessing, it's 2 mana now. Alright, so do I want to leave mana up for a counter spells? I can definitely attack with the Gizerite. The thing is that I could attack for 4 here if I tap down it first. Yeah, let's do it. So they have something for 2 mana. That can be a number of things, but let's attack for 4 and then humiliation. Okay, that's also something that is available at 1 mana. So that's probably the one they had, because at some point they had only 1 planes up, and that was in their hand probably. So they are attacking into this 4/3, and that means well, I'm going to take the 2 here. Of course, they have a way to get rid of the Mist Dragon if I block, and I really have this as my way to win here. Remember, this is a game where I did, in fact, mulligan to 5. Now opponent mulligan to 6, but they are on the draw also, so it's not such a big deal for them. I wish I had 6th mana. So am I gonna use the improvised weaponry and let them have some, well, whatever they have for that thing? I hope it's not a trick that gives them hexproof, because I want the treasure here to get my dragon. But I guess this is the what I have to do here. They might have another hippogriff. Who knows? If it's just a pump spell, yeah, they have also that. Sure. Oh, but no, they return it. Of course, they return it because that way they get to draw a card. And now I don't get a treasure, so now I have to actually draw the land here. Yep, I don't counter that. But that means I might be able to counter whatever their next play is, unless it's just a 2 mana play or they have a land drop and 3 mana play. But they do want to leave up mana for... I mean, they want to use the mana efficiently, but let's see if they can do that. Alright, no land, but there's at least a spell I can play. So if they have now... I mean, they're gonna have a trick of some kind, which is gonna be cheap enough that the Undersimplify won't counter it. But you can counter target creature spells even if they can pay the tax. It will perpetually get -2, so that is nice. But they're not gonna have a creature spell. They're gonna have a way to pump the Hippogriff, and I'll be in big trouble here. If I did draw the land for this thing, I'd like my chances a lot more. Now, I'm not lost still here. I can play the Rebel Rouser and leave mana up for the Undersimplify. They do get to the, quite a high amount of mana here now. Oh, that's exactly what they needed there. That's exactly. I mean, they had exactly 2 mana left over there. That's really annoying. But I guess they didn't get life from this because they had to give first strike to the Hippogriff. So it's not, as bad as it could have been. I now have a 1/3 blocker on the Priest of Ancient Lore. So there is that at least. And they are down to 6 thanks to the Gitcherai, being able to attack against these 2-power creatures. Because how this is worded is that even if they block this with like 100 creatures that have 2 power, all of those will get -2, -0. So this can only be killed in combat by blockers in combat that have at least 3 power. Multiple blocks don't help there. Yeah, the Copper Dragon can still win because of being a 6 mana 6/5 flyer. They have only 4 power and I have a blocker to their other 2 power here, so that's not nice. I guess I could have undersimplified that just to keep it -2, -0, but I kind of hope to still get them somehow, but it starts to get unlikely. Creature cards in their hand get now +1/+1. They can make it into a life linker, or green version is this 4/4 that dies into 4/4. Oh geez, that is. Maybe I should have given it -2, -0 because I don't like them having the 3/3 lifelinker. Yeah, I maybe didn't. Because it's quite likely they have just lands in their hand, so I'm never gonna use this to actually counter anything. Giving this guy -2, -0 would have been at least quite relevant. But I think, let's say if they just have 2 lands in their hand, that means the Copper Dragon can win the game. So, but they are thinking about the specialize, which kind of is scary here. Why are they using the timeout? Is it such a hard decision what to do? I'm pretty sure they don't have just 2 lands in their hand because they have to think it so much. They had a wild shape there. Well, they have tricks. So now this thing dies into a 4/4. Right. There is the land, but again the gate. Yeah, sometimes they do punish you. So I can't even attack into this board. Alright, let's not attack then. Let's hope that dragon will be enough. I like the fact they didn't, attack with the Hippogriff, and yet this thing has a pretty relevant, ability. They can attack for 6 in the air now because these attacks, if someone out there attacks that doesn't have flying, they can give flying to that. So I'm probably going down to 6. Yeah, I should have used the undersimplify. I am happy that they didn't get to make this into the mono white version, which would have been a 3/3 life linker, because it would be harder to raise the life linker. But this is not easy still. But yeah, this is the game where I did mulligan to 5, so I do quite like that. I was at least. So far, I got quite close to winning, and I still can win. But of course, if they just keep having amazing cards in their hand, there's not much to do. So they can attack it with 4 in the air. Okay, that is allowed. That is allowed to happen. So they did, on the previous turn they did use a wild shape, but they have another Hippogriff. Now this is the time to actually. Does it matter? I'm gonna give it -1, -2, -0. Sorry, because I'm gonna steal next turn. I'm gonna cast a Copper Dragon anyway. So I'm not going to. It's the best I can do. Give this a perpetual debuff. All right, so let's play all the lands because I might want to have all the mana available for these. Plus, if I get to if I get to connect with the Copper Dragon, of course I win the game. So I don't think they're gonna allow me to connect with it. Yeah, I don't like the fact they got the other flyer there. But oh, okay. Well, sure. They just had it all. I mean, I thought I had a chance, but they had the specific answers to completely negate my attacks there. So let's just go to the next game and hope I don't have to mulligan at least to 5. So the pattern can be useful, especially against the band together, rally maneuver. Yeah, I'm gonna actually play 2 of those patterns now, and I don't think I care about what the Gicherai. That's not so good here. I'm not gonna maybe use the Ray of Frost. They don't even play red here, so anything else? I'm gonna have 1/6/6 against the green-white deck. The librarians might. No, I don't like the librarians too much. I'm gonna play another 6/6, even though it does make my mana curve a little bit more awkward. But I have some ways to accelerate my mana development here. Should I play the Orb of Dragonkind now? I don't think so. Should I play something like a Soul Knife Spy instead of the librarians? I think that might make sense. Although maybe not, because the Soul Knife Spy is so bad against stuff like Priest of Ancient Lore. Then again, with double hypnotic pattern, maybe it makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna try one, and this is the deck. I don't think the librarians is that good against anything that's green, because green has access to so big creatures that the 2/4 stat line is quite bad when you have to pay 4 mana for it. Okay. So 1 landers into 6 landers in the game too. So is this? I mean, it's not a keep. I can't keep a 6 lander. Okay, well, let's see if I can. I mean, I want to get to 6 mana. I guess I have to actually cut the Earth Cult Elemental here. Then again, if I draw... Well, I need to draw a blue producing, I mean, an island anyway, so that makes me... Okay, I'm gonna cut this. It's pretty weird to cut the 4th land when you have all 6 and 5s here, but I figure I need to draw a couple of lands anyway. I mean, I draw either cheap cards or lands. I'm gonna aim for a little bit for the long game, and of course, this is a really bad hand, but I can't mulligan to 5 again when I have at least lands and spells in some configuration, even though the spells don't exactly cost the amount of mana I want them to cost. So now this thing is, did they mill a land? Yes. So this is a 2 mana 2/1. When it dies, they can return a land to their hand. So do they need a land and jump block here, or because a 2/1 is a decent stat line, it can participate in combat. So if they don't really need the land, there's no reason to block there. And let's see, me not drawing a land. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, I mean, the best thing I can do here, I guess, is this and attack for what, 2? Okay, yeah. This final match was just I mean, yeah, of course. Now, if you are asking me, would I rather have a mountain or an earth cult elemental in my hand? Of course, a mountain. But then again, I have also drawn 3 cards. None of them was a land. So it's not really that. It's quite a low case scenario when none of them is a land. So because I assumed I'm gonna go to 4 lands anyway, and I need specifically an island to cast this. So in order to have any kind of reasonable chance here. I'm not gonna attack. I could attack for 1, they block, but I don't even have the 4th mana to threaten the double pump here. So I'd rather block the 2/3 here. So yeah, that's now 4 cards drawn without any lands. So yeah, I figured that if I have like a normal draw with around half lands, half spells, then I will get into these 5 and 6 drops, and this is gonna be more relevant than an extra land at that point. But that didn't quite go that way. Now the opponent is also interestingly only at green mana, and they could have blocked with this thing to get the planes, but they chose not to. All right, so now, of course, they are going to block the Soul Knife Spy here with the Circle of the Land Druid. But what can I do? I have the only one castable spell here, and this gets perpetual, this gets one time. And if they have a trick now, I mean, I might as well. Well, I'm not gonna concede because I actually have the, I can win with my dragons, but it's quite likely they have a trick here, which is gonna make this quite bad for me. I still try to, save the Soul Knife Spy here. I'm not gonna trade with the 2-mana 2-1, that's gonna net them a card regardless. I will at least make them use a card here. So they are choosing to kill this thing for reasons. So they don't care about the Soul Knife Spy. Sure. Now they get their planes. And if I draw a yeah, they can get some life with this thing though, because it has vigilance, it can attack and still block. But yeah, if I draw an island here, and then after that any untapped land, I still like my chances, but that's not so. Oh, and so they just happen to have the Trelasar for the Sepherd here. Okay. It's time to have a bad draft after all those trios, I guess. But I'm not gonna say. Well, maybe my deck isn't that amazing, but this last match, of course, has been kind of a non-game, bunch of non-games because of all the mulligans and mana issues, and opponent having a pretty good stuff. All right, well, there is at least that. So I'm gonna tap down which of them? Oh, they still. I don't like the fact they have this priority here. So that means they still have stuff they can do here. So I mean, if I don't tap down the Shepherd, they're gonna keep, the Scry, getting Scries and counters here. Yeah, I'm gonna tap down the Shepherd. As weird as it sounds, I'd rather them trade with the Soul Knife Spy. But I know I'm gonna trade with a trick. Maybe it is another band together though, and then they have to decide if they want to kill the dragon or the Soul Knife Spy. They can block the Soul Knife Spy and kill the dragon with a band together. But I don't mind if I get to trade with the Trelasara here. But they have to block or I get to draw a card. Or or kill this with the band together or something like that. Okay, they are gonna block and have a trick of which variety. No white up, so that's only choose a weapon. Oh, they chose to kill the dragon. Okay, that's fine. I got rid of the Trelasara now, and now any land gives me a covered dragon, and that might still be good enough to win. And I don't get to draw any land. I'm actually going to do this now. I hope they block. I will pump once and then finish it off with the improvised weaponry and hope they don't have a trick there. Maybe they think I made a mistake. I thought I can pump it 3 times, which I can't. Because I want to cast this just to get, the covered dragon. I guess if they don't block, I'm just gonna, burn their head. Okay, that's good. They might still have the 1 mana trick here, but let's see. If they don't, this is quite fine. Okay, so now I'm gonna be able to cast this unless they somehow kill this treasure here and I don't draw the land. Well, they get to gain life. And alright, so they get some good value out of this 0-3 Sylvan Shepherd thanks to all the life gain triggers. Now, again, still it's fine if my dragon survives. They have used some number of removal there, so maybe they are running out. And there goes the sound again. Maybe by year 2030, the sound bug will be fixed. Or at least the music went away. Or did the track just stop? I'm not sure. Alright, so more triggers for this thing. So they can actually now attack into the dragon because they got the pre-combat. I mean, they could have attacked with the Silver Shepherd, but then I couldn't just block the Shepherd. And of course I can take the 5 here. But now they have 4 mana. Can they kill the dragon? If they have a Patriarch's Humiliation, they can make it lose flying and the treasure generating ability. I'm not gonna block, that's for sure. So yeah, they did sideboard in or have it this in the main deck, but I guess they saw the dragon in the first game, so this is quite good, card to deal with that kind of stuff. Okay, let's see if they can prevent this damage from happening. They can't. So now I have a lot of treasures, assuming I don't draw like a 1 here. Yeah, 19 treasures. I guess I can sacrifice a permanent if I get a low roll here. Is there a reason not to play the island? I don't think I have anything with specialize in this deck. But I mean, I don't need it on the battlefield. Let's just sack one of my 19 treasures here, re-up. And I can sack another one for the hypnotic pattern. Okay, they have the sack too. I got an actually 20 there. So, I mean, they can sack 2 lands. I suppose it's not a big deal. Or maybe they don't care about the Shepherd. Although it is a jump blocker, they might have to jump block the Earth Cult Elemental. But 2 forest is, I mean, they're still at 5. So. Pegasus Guardian. Okay, that's gonna draw them a card. Alright. And they're gonna get the unicorn even bigger, but I can use the hypnotic pattern. Hopefully they don't. Yeah, they could have some tricks. Because I can use the hypnotic pattern targeting the same creature twice, make it into a 2/5. Then they would have to have something very big to make the Earth Cult Elemental die. I mean, a big boost effect. But I can also just make this into a 4/5. And then, of course, well, they have to do something first. Maybe they have a pump spell they want to use before it goes to blocks. Let's see first. They might also be able to make it indestructible because I saw 2 cards that do exactly that. You're ambushed on the road. Sure, I don't think it matters. So now it's gonna be a 7/8. Yeah, well, I'm gonna at this point just make it perpetually gain the minus effect anyway because it's gonna survive this combat now. It has too much toughness. So I want it to be, not have so much power because of course only one of these -2, -0 effects is perpetual. So it will go back to, big stats. Do they have a land to play this Pegasus Guardian? Steadfast Paladin. Okay, so the unicorn really being annoying. And of course I draw just a land now that it took so much time to find the land and now I draw them when I don't do anything with them. Now, one thing with all these treasures is, of course, that if I happen to draw, I have still 2 Rebel Rousers in my deck. They are gonna be huge with the treasures. Now, is there any point attacking with the Earth Cult Elemental? I don't really think there is, because they have easy jump blocks there. They can attack back with life gain. I just have to, I don't have even a 2-turn clock here, but yeah, maybe if I drew a spell here, that would be really fantastic, but didn't happen. More treasures, only 2, but not that it matters really. Might as well play one of these lands. Well, I mean, opponent has actually a deck that has good synergy. It's not easy to draft a life gain deck in, I mean, the life gain payoff deck in this format, but they have the Trilasar. Well, I guess they have the Trilasar and one unicorn. Maybe they are the only stuff they have, and they happen to draw them. But now, I mean, there's not really much to do here. I have to block here and hope they. I mean, I guess they just don't run out of the cards. I have run out of cards. They didn't run out of cards. They can make that indestructible, but that means it survives and it gains another counter here. And I drew lands here. So 2 back-to-back lands when I absolutely had to draw something else. So they can, I mean, if I attack with the Cupboard Dragon, they can attack for 8 in the air, and then I can block only one of these things here. If I attack with the Earth Cult Elemental, they can still attack with the Celestial Unicorn, which I can't profitably block. So this is game over when I drew these lands. I mean, if I drew them earlier, I would have had a smoother game here, but opponent just added to the board every turn, and I stopped after the Dragon and the Earth Cult Elemental, and there's no way I can beat this stuff when this gets bigger every turn. I had a good deck against me here, but I did have some issues with my draws in the last match. But anyway, my given my previous how many drafts, I mean, getting a 1-win result right now is not so big deal. And this deck, I didn't really. I mean, the one thing I didn't get to do here a lot is to have a turn 3 Walrus or this thing with a good target, and then have a turn 4, one of my 5 drops, or turn 5, one of my 6 drops, which I kind of counted on. So I guess I kind of drew the wrong cards in the wrong order. But that's what happens when you play a little bit inconsistent decks. I also never drew this thing. I mean, I never had the option to even scry and draw with this young blue dragon, which is quite funny actually. Now that well, I guess the last 2 matches were over in 2 games both, but I think I still played at least 6 or 7 games in the match in the draft, and I never got to see this card even, because this would have been quite good, and at least when I had a lot of mana available. But all right, yeah, the 2 drops. I don't know. The problem with the undersimplify is that if the opponent isn't curving out, this doesn't too much, because there were some cases where I had this thing up early in the game and the opponent just didn't play anything I could have countered. Sometimes you just get to get there at 4 drop, and that's amazing. So it's a card that has a bit of variance in its effective in its effect. So random. I guess I would just have some playable 2 drops creatures instead of the undersimplify. But blue doesn't really have those options. The Wizened, is it Wizened or Wizened, whatever. Either of those, I guess. This is mostly good in some super aggressive decks, which this is definitely not. So I had some. Well, I don't know. I had this, this late game here with the mana accelerating and this defensive 4 drops. But well, I just didn't get these cheap cards early enough, I guess, in the matches where I lost. But plus, I had opponents with strong decks, so you can't always win. It's nice to try to find some excuses, but sometimes you just lose for various reasons, and there's not much to analyze that. Anyway, that was the first draft where I used the rebalanced cards. I'm not going to force blue or anything going forward, but I think the draft format got a little bit more interesting because the balances seem quite good. I like the green card balances. There were other green cards that got balanced as well that I didn't get to show you in this draft. And I like the nerfs to the white and black cards that we got. Also, some black cards got increased in their effectiveness. I guess the only black card that got the nerf was the Guildsworn Prowler, and there were at least 3 other cards that got a boost instead. So I think it was a better direction for this draft format, but honestly, I just hope that the developers who developed these sets could just make the limited format good right from the get-go. So I don't expect them to actually rebalance any of those standard release sets, but if they ever make another this kind of set where it's an alchemy set that's valid for rebalanced cards, I hope that they don't have to rebalance draft cards, that the draft format is good right from the beginning. But yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about this one, and the next one will happen in a couple of days. I will see you then. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.